What is up, guys, and welcome back to another Gran Turismo Sport video. How do I put this? Yeah, you guys can tell what's going to go down from the title of this video, but I want to put a quick disclaimer out and say that I also was one of the worst drivers on Gran Turismo Sport at the time. You can see this is from a very long time ago. I was a D-rated driver. If you've been watching recently, you'll know that I'm now an A-rated driver. But there was a lot of bad races that I had to go through to get to the point where I was a semi-competent player, and this is one of them. So here we are at Suzuka in the Toyota Supra, and we're facing up against a lot of other average drivers. So heading into turn 1, we completely throw away our race right from the outset. No one else is a bad driver, it's just me. That's the spoiler. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. Welcome back to Gran Turismo Sport's World's Worst Drivers, episode number 2. Funnily enough, we kick off from where we just left off in the first episode, that being here in Suzuka. A lot of these races started off with me doing something incredibly stupid at the start of a race to put myself back in the pack. So, yeah, that's always fun. But you can just see from the lobby that there's incidents at every corner. Either someone is getting spun off or hit off, or they're falling off the racetrack on their own. We've got this guy in a BMW doing what BMWs do best, really, just moving over, cutting you off, not indicating. He's the complete package. Just all-in-one driver. It really is amazing. Even brake testing into 130R. And then to top it off, you get completely squeezed off onto the grass and spun off. Really killing the tires. And my race is now ruined. Amazing. So we rejoin in P9. And we have to fight our way back through the field. You can see the Porsche gives the Mercedes a bit of a serve up. I give him a nice little boost there. So I felt bad for him, really. I don't mind a bit of charity. And then the Audi R8 behind me gives me a bit of charity, so I really appreciate that. We see our fellow BMW driver having a bit of a moment there. And then the Porsche coming in from nowhere to smash off the Mercedes, who was in front of us. So it's absolutely amazing. Oh, and it doesn't end there. We get absolutely bunted off at the hairpin to top it all off. This was a lobby full of like half B-rated drivers, the rest being C or D. But what's hilarious is that everyone in this lobby, except for maybe 1 or 2 people, were S-rated in terms of their safety rating or sportsmanship rating. They had the best sportsmanship rating, and they're all driving like this. Gran Turismo sorted out. But anyway, you can see this is a rare opportunity in the video where I actually pull off a nice move. Nice and clean as well, around the outside at 130R, and then we take P8. Savor that in, because that's the last of the clean racing you'll get in this video from me. We're trying to pull off the same thing again on another Mercedes, just another lap later, but this time, not quite as clean. We... yeah, just stooping down to their level, I suppose. To be fair to this Italian in the Mercedes, he was quite competent, he was pretty fast. It took me a little while to get in front of him. When I did get in front of him, he then gave me a bit of a touch-up at 130R, and that was sayonara to any chances of finishing in a good position. But we're not going to give up there, we're going to press on. We're going to keep going. Mama didn't raise a quitter. Of course, more mistakes followed. Running wide at Spoon Curve. This track was just absolutely brutal. You fall off the racetrack one bit and you're losing so much time. Now this guy here was the best player in the lobby. He was giving himself a challenge by going defensive about 200 meters early from where I was coming up to him. So that was interesting. He goes defensive again into the Spoon Curve. And this is a very nice defensive tactic, which I've never seen before, and that's just to throw yourself off the racetrack. It was super effective, but through all that, we came back and finished in P6. So, yeah, very interesting lobby. S-rated drivers all across the board, apart from those two, which is probably the ranking that I would give everyone, myself included, after that performance. But we move on to another race. Suzuka once again. I've now been promoted to a C-rated driver, but the proof is not in the pudding. As you can see there, doing another stupid mistake at the start of the race to throw myself back into the pack. Maybe subconsciously, I wanted the extra challenge. I just wanted to bring back the biff on the racetrack a little bit. This Greek guy was also one of the best players in the lobby. He was just, he didn't want to race on his own, you know. He wanted to have a challenge. He wanted to fight with other people. Now, this defensive tactic in the turn 1 is absolutely fantastic as well. I'll need to learn how to do this one. He brakes 300 meters early, turns across into my line, and forces me off the track. Now, that is a move which worked super well, because not only did I not overtake him, but I lost the position as well. So I'll have to start incorporating that into my FIA races going forward. That's a good one. But anyway, this Greek guy, in all seriousness, is absolutely atrocious. I don't know if he's doing this on purpose. He was literally sideways halfway through the S's, and he hasn't taken a normal racing line yet. Like, look at this line into the Degnas. Absolutely amazing. Fishtailing everywhere. You'd be forgiven for thinking he might be playing on a keyboard or something. But we thankfully negotiate him. And then I decide, you know what, racing on my own is too boring. I've got to throw myself back into the pack. I've got to make some love with that Greek guy again. So I've got to spin myself out a number of times. But unfortunately, no amount of bottling could get me back in the same space as him. And we ended up finishing on the podium. Miraculously. So, yeah, that's low-level rated Gran Turismo Sport lobbies for you. We now move on to, I think this is Daily Race B. This is from like a month ago. So, a long time ago. It feels like a long time for me, although in the grand scheme of things, probably not that long ago for you guys. But I feel like I've been on this massive journey since then. But anyway, here we are at Dragon Tail Seaside. This was a pretty manic race. A lot of people in Lamborghinis were just sharks in the water. They were not taking any prisoners, it seemed, in this race. This chicane was pretty brutal as well. If you cut it or extend it or run wide out into the outside wall, you're losing like 50 miles an hour. So it meant that there were a lot of hotly contested overtakes into this final corner. And as you can see, it's kicked off already. With me getting hit wide, there's about 3 or 4 wide up there. Lamborghini's gone spinning off into the wall, and this massive battle pack is only going to escalate into content that is not advertiser friendly, we'll say that much. But yeah, I'm in the Renault Megane, I think, 2011. This thing I discovered is not great on straight line performance. I'm not sure if I ran into deep or if I got hit. I probably got hit, to be honest. Judging by the bumper car's nature of everything we've seen so far, you would expect that I probably was hit there. We've got someone up our inside. That's another Lamborghini. At the time of me doing this race, it probably didn't help as well that I was kind of learning the circuit a little bit, so I was consistent and was able to keep up with these guys, but I wasn't really fast enough to really pull away, and so I found myself getting caught up by a lot of these guys, and this lot was so inconsistent. We kept, you know, going tit for tat for positions, and we just ended up clashing a lot. So we're halfway through this race. The Lamborghini runs out wide. That's another position for us. But these guys are also much faster compared to me, that they catch me up anyway later on in the lap. You can see 2 cars behind get tangled up. I follow the Lambo in front into a bit of a mistake, and now we get overtaken by another couple of Lambos. But so far, like, the incidents, at least in respect to me, haven't been too bad. Like, I haven't crashed with anyone. They haven't crashed into me until now. As I went in deep, but the black Lamborghini went in way deeper than what I did, and somehow I think we benefited out of that, which was very interesting. Into the death chicane, as Super GT calls it, for the final time. We get a nice little run out of here onto the Lamborghini. We might go for a dive bomb into the final corner, but watch from behind as someone just comes completely out of nowhere to wipe out the black Lamborghini. So he's done the job for me, and now we're going to finish in the top 5 in our first race at Dragon Trail Seaside. Oh, Dragon Trail Seaside. I apologize about that. We move on to the next one, and I decide to join the Lamborghini Brigade straight away, ramming people on my attempt to get towards the front. Side by side at the death chicane is not too fun, and it's not really recommended, as I completely killed the Lamborghini who was on my right hand side. Now keep an eye out for, I think, this Jaguar F-Type. It's just absolutely disgusting driving. He's fully got his elbows out on the run into the final corner, and then I got absolutely sent into the barrier by probably the Jaguar, and we're down to pretty much last. So that was a very fun exchange, but given the respectfulness that has been shown by all these guys, you would expect that we'd be able to catch up in pretty much no time at all. And here we are once again on the back of this angry train. It's unbelievable the amount of dirty drivers that are on this game. I was coming to Gran Turismo Sport with the premise that I was going to have cleaner racing than F1 2019. But honestly, yes, there's a lot of crashes on F1 2019, but nothing compares to Gran Turismo Sport. There is so many drivers who are intentionally setting out to ram people off, to squeeze them off to push them completely onto the grass and stuff like that. These two Lambos, that's just absolute hilarity through there. I've never seen, I'm just talking on a general perspective, not just from this video, but from all the other videos I've made as well, just how many people intentionally try to ruin your day. And even from like the smallest little incident sometimes, it's quite mad. I feel like there needs to be damage introduced into some of these daily races, because then people start to reel it in a little bit, because half the time, well, especially in these lower rated lobbies, it literally is bumper car racing. But anyway, I'll stop talking about that. We've seen the worst drivers on Gran Turismo Sport. Get ready to see the worst stewards on the platform as well. I mean, what was that penalty for? I was going side by side. There was a little bit of light rubbing into the right-hander, and that was a penalty. I just don't understand. What I've actually been penalised for is the number 15 car getting hit off by another car. Look in the radar, he gets absolutely smashed from behind. And because of the initial contact instigated by me, the game thinks that I'm at fault for that. And then the guy who actually rammed him off got away with absolutely nothing. Here's another good example. Heading into this left-hander, I hit off the GTR quite badly, and that wasn't a penalty. So, yeah, there needs to be a lot of work done to GT Sport from a driving context, but also a bit of a stewarding context as well. And it never ends in lower rated lobbies. I'm just saying now, I'm so glad that I've got myself out of the hellhole that is C, D rated lobbies, and I'm now racing against people who can keep it on the racetrack. It really is night and day, the difference between the higher rated players and then the lower rated players as well. But that's been this video for today, guys. Gran Turismo Sports, world's worst drivers. And I feel like we've only just touched the surface. This is only a small percentage of the European delegates of the player base. God knows what it's like in America or Oceania. We can check out Oceania if you really want to. Still B-rated over there. But thank you so much for watching. With all that said, don't get me wrong, I do love playing on GT Sport, but but the drivers are full of surprises. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.